go ahead and leave early if you need to. And I will be posting the replay in the Facebook group and also in the FGCU webinar group. And if you are in the advanced class, I'll post it in our training module there. But what I wanted to cover in today's webinar, which will be helpful for everything you do, is talk about profiles, and especially LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is where the professionals hang out. And most of you are in a professional arena. We have several people who are in the law profession, the hospitality profession, business owners, people who need to get in front of other professionals. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to show you what the people who are the LinkedIn advisors, what they do on their profiles, and then show you what some of the movers and shakers in the LinkedIn world are doing. So I've selected a few people. One is Mike O'Neill, and he helps business people with their LinkedIn profiles. Another one is Greg Wells, and he focuses on helping people find jobs. And Dan Sherman, I think, is a little more a balance of both. And then I've gone and found some LinkedIn advisors, and I wanted to show you how they put together their profiles. So this is, I would say, a show and tell more than a, fill in the blank. This, I'm going to be moving through this fairly rapidly, pointing out some things that you can emulate in your own profile, and know that you can take all this information and apply it to all of your other profiles as you go along. But I thought LinkedIn would be the perfect one to use as an example that could help you. So it looks like nearly everyone who signed up, I believe, is here. So, and everybody can hear, so great. I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm hoping that my computer moves fast enough. So if we have a little bit of lag, just know it's my computer connection. I do have a Fios connection, so that should help, and I'm using Firefox browser. Some of you are on a PC, of you are on Mac, so your computer may be slower or faster. But what I wanted to show you is just LinkedIn in general. This is actually what my LinkedIn profile looks like when I go look at it. And as most of you know, you'll see this this thing called endorse your connections, where they ask you to endorse people you know. And what this is equivalent to a like in the Facebook world, but you're endorsing people for what they know about. For example, this is my friend, image consultant Susan Viteri. What does she know about fashion? Well, she definitely knows a lot about fashion. So if I wanted to, I would endorse her just by clicking this button. Valerie Van Boeven, what does she know about small business? She knows a lot. What does Brendan know about training? Well, I know all of these people personally, so I could choose to endorse them, and then I can show other people. This is my profile, and just to let you know, you would click a button when you go to your own profile, and it'll open up these little pencils. So that means you can edit. And this camera is, you would click on that to upload a new photo. As you can see, what I've done with my photo is I included my as seen on ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, and CNN, because that gives me a little more credibility. And the way that I was able to have those on my profile is I have had articles about me or interviews on all of these stations. So that gives you that third person credibility. So that's one of the things that you can do online that help people it makes you stand out a little bit more than the average person. And of course, I can edit my experience, my education, and I have been working on my background, and I have a little, as you see here, I have changed my tense here. And for those of you who were at our class in person, I was explaining how I got advice about how to write my personal profile, and it should be written in the first person because you're talking directly to people. So here's the summary, and this is how I changed it based on the things I've learned from LinkedIn gurus. You want to catch people's attention right away, and I actually probably need to shorten my paragraphs even more. But just to point out a couple things that will be very useful, notice the use of action words. The word create is an action word. I create marketing strategies for business leaders. So I'm saying that I want to work with business leaders. And then I say who want to integrate online media with traditional media and who want to 10x or 20x their business in 2014. So I updated my summary to a very specific niche. So when you're trying to talk to your potential clients and customers, or if you're seeking a new job, you want to point out things that would make you stand out. And then the word I have a knack for seeing how. This is a phrase, a knack, it's like an innate thing. That's a phrase that you can use that personalizes you immediately. I have a knack for seeing how businesses can use integrated new media marketing, and I help them. So you're saying what you can do. So I have a knack for seeing, and then I help them grow a huge online footprint. It's like, what is your talent? And then how do you help people? And then the famous so that they can capture, connect, and close more clients and customers. So that's like in the real world, that could be equivalent to my 30-second elevator speech that you could say to someone that you could, sum up what you do very quickly. So think of your profiles as something that you can put together where you can tell somebody about yourself in a few sentences. And then, of course, I went on to say, I've always been an advocate and educator for others. Okay, so advocate and educator, that is when we're in business, we want to be an advocate for other people's success. And of course, I educate people. And then I added something about my integrity without saying, and I have integrity. I have with a solid sense of right and wrong. And then I wrote like a warrior woman mother bear because I'm trying to describe uh, an, some type of description of me that kind of says, while I'm a strong role model, I fiercely protect my clients. That's the warrior woman mother bear. I see my clients as people I need to help and protect with my greatest effort. So, because I work in that client where people are my clients, and I have I need to protect their interests. So I'm trying to say that in a creative way. So, and then it says so that they can grow their business successfully with proven, measurable results. So this is just an example. And if you go down and read this, you'll see that I'm trying to describe things about myself and then how it could apply. So somebody could read this and know fairly quickly whether or not they like me or not. So that's something that you'll want to read. So you'll want to read this. And again, right here, where it says she helped, I at one time had written this in the third person. So I'm changing it. And I think Nikki, one of my students, said, "Hey, you've got a grammar error." And I said, "Oh yeah, I see that because I was editing this and I missed that." So go through your own profile and make sure that you catch all of those little things if you are changing it. And then at the bottom here, it's like reach out. What can they do? They can contact me for a consultation, and there's my phone number. And then I've included all these different images and videos of myself, and there's my different endorsements and then my experience. And your LinkedIn is not really your resume online, but it includes a lot of the same information. So think about that. Again, you're showing people who you are in your LinkedIn, and I'm going to show you other examples. And again, I've updated mine recently with a lot of the presentations I've done, and then other people will recommend you, and it just goes on from there. So I'm going to go ahead and move out of this, but I just wanted to show you that even though I am a professional in this field, I'm learning how to use these different tools right along with you, because they're always changing and there are people who are experts. So I just wanted to point that out, that I am updating my own LinkedIn profile. Let me take you to see Mike O'Neill. And Mike O'Neill has been doing LinkedIn since about, I believe, 2006. He was one of the very first trainers to jump on board uh, with LinkedIn. And he's, uh, if you recall, if you were in the live event, I was explaining how this is the guy, Mike O'Neill, who I accidentally met online because someone recommended that we be friends. And I heard him come on Skype and I thought he was calling me, but he really wasn't. But he's a crazy dude, but he's the rock star, LinkedIn rock star. And what he does is he travels around the country and he trains people how to use LinkedIn in the business world, and he does a lot of speaking. And what I want to point out here, okay, this is where you'll want to take notes. And number one with LinkedIn, just like all the social profiles, you they have free versions and they have paid versions. You do not need to buy into the paid version unless you choose to. At some point, you're probably going to get a notice where they'll give you 30 days free, and you might consider that or not. But if you notice, okay, here's his name, Mike O'Neill. This is what he does. He's the founder at Integrated Alliances, and then he has the little diamond, and then corporate B2B LinkedIn sales trainer, his little diamond, keynote speaker, comma, social media futurist. This is your keyword loaded headline. And when I say keywords, what that means is if someone were looking for B2B LinkedIn sales trainer, he would probably come up in the search. So for you, whatever your business is, you want to have a keyword, a couple words saying what you are. It really, and I'll show you other examples, saying you're the CEO of a company doesn't really tell people what it is that you really do. You want to tell people, for example, sales trainer. We know that he's a sales trainer, keynote speaker. That means, hey, we could hire him to be a speaker. Social media futurist, meaning he's looking into the future and where social media is going. So if you want what I would take away from this is to give yourself what is it you do, and then you can cut and paste the little diamonds. If you don't know how to make those on your keyboard, just cut and paste them and use those to help make your profile pop a little bit. The same thing with these little arrow things. It helps make it pop. Also, you want to grow your connection list to 500 plus. The more connections you have, the more people who are going to find you. It's that idea of the 6 degrees of separation, I guess. The more people that are in your first line of where you know them, the more people that you know. Now, here is Mike's summary. Notice, and the reason why this is a good example is notice how I've been helping others my whole life, period. It's my passion, period. I help sales teams sell more with LinkedIn, period. Okay, what you need to pay attention to for your own profile, why mine was not a good example and his is think mobile device, think tablet. How is this LinkedIn profile going to look in your phone? He wrote short sentences. So he's got, I've been helping others my whole life. What is that? 7 words. It's my passion. 3 words. I help sales teams sell more with LinkedIn. 8 words. And then space. It didn't start that way. Dot, dot, dot. Okay, space. And then again, he's giving very short sentences. As a sales engineer, again, note the formula. As a blank, I helped blank sell blank solutions to blank, period. So if you were to write your formula and you were trying to describe what you've done in this, as a professor, I helped my students learn the latest technology solutions for X or 2. So in this case, he's showing you as a blank, I helped blank learn, sell, create, whatever that action word is, and then whatever the solution was, and then who your target market was. That's the formula. And then he shows each week I trained my internal team and channel partners. Space. Notice he's designed this summary so that it's easy to consume in short little chunks of information in a mobile device. Always be thinking about mobile devices. And then he goes into, okay, how he got, how, he's moving forward to how I got to where I'm going. And so he says, okay, 2 layoffs in the telecom crash, and I became an entrepreneur, starting integrated alliances in 2003 as a B2B networking events company, and it really took off. So he summed up all of that in basically that complex sentence there. And then in 2006, I got the idea to host a LinkedIn training class, the world's first ever. And then he did a 4-hour LinkedIn hands-on workshop where he got 100 association leaders to the University of Denver. So 2006 to 2014, he's now literally taught thousands of people. He says now 500 sessions and 20,000 attendees later, I'm a leader in the LinkedIn training world. And he's also a Forbes top 50 social media power influencer. So notice how he is weaving this story in little short chunks of information. And he started out, hey, it didn't start that way. In other words, I'm like you. I didn't start out being this big influencer, but here I am now. He's very much here he's saying now I'm a social media influencer, one of only two in the coveted LinkedIn top 50. And then he says, I'm an average guy who's into muscle cars, classic rock, vinyl records, and concerts. And I can vouch for that because when I talked to him on Skype, he was on his iPhone using Skype or FaceTime, and he gave me a tour of his house, and he was showing me his vinyl records and his talking about his muscle cars. So he's like the LinkedIn rock star. And then he goes, okay, let's talk about working together. And this is how to connect with him and his phone number. And then he gives more information about himself. He's he's a big Twitter person. A lot of LinkedIn people are also into Twitter because LinkedIn and Twitter had a partnership until recently. And that's why you see a lot of people who are very popular on LinkedIn are also very popular on Twitter. And that's why we talk about our automation services. And that's something we talk about in a couple weeks about how to do automation. Here he's giving you a little bit more. For example, he's telling you his Myers-Briggs, which is an ENFP, if you're familiar with the personality test. He's basically telling you what type of personality he is. And then he goes into I'm known as the LinkedIn rock star. I don't work for LinkedIn, which is his disclaimer, which people have to give when they're promoting or talking about LinkedIn. They just have to say, hey, I don't work for LinkedIn. However, I know about LinkedIn. And then he's giving more information like how to learn LinkedIn for free. And I do recommend some of his free training because he does have a lot of really good information that if you really want to get into LinkedIn, I would say Mike has some good training. But again, notice the use of the diamonds, and he's saying different things he does here. The thing about LinkedIn is that it is designed to really make you shine, and you're able to use it like a really nice resume, and you can show people who you are with images. You can link to videos. You can just really expand. You can have your reputation and recommendations. You can show where you've worked. You can show your work history. And in the work world, you can find out a lot about people through LinkedIn. So that is Mike O'Neill. So again, when it comes to LinkedIn, he's probably one of the number. He's in the top 50 of all the people, and he's a big influencer for LinkedIn training. Now I want to show you Greg Wells. Greg Wells is a little bit different, and notice how he has the icons. His claim to fame is helping people get jobs. So he's actually up in the Tampa St. Pete area, but he again is recognized as a LinkedIn author and trainer, and he was a jobs recruiter. And this is how he has his information. Again, I apologize for my computer not cooperating 100%, but notice how he's using nationally recognized LinkedIn author and trainer, former ex-recruiter, now LinkedIn authority expert. Notice again, keyword loaded title. LinkedIn is used twice here, and whatever you're using, l- for you and your expertise. Again, LinkedIn. I know that we have some people working in the legal field. You'll want to make sure that whatever, if you are in a licensed profession, make sure that you check the rules about what you're allowed to say in social media, because I do know that the Florida bar has some specific requirements related to what you're allowed to say and not say. For those of you who are not in any licensed profession, you can pretty much say whatever you want to say about yourself. But if you're in real estate, in law, in a profession where you are licensed and there is a bar or a board involved, always double check their marketing or advertising standards so that you don't get in trouble. I had a client who was an attorney, and they had to go in and change all of their things in LinkedIn because they had some adjectives connected to their names. So know the rules for your own profession. That's just something that I wanted to point out. Also, while I see it there, make sure when you do your LinkedIn profile that you go get your actual name attached to it. Um, Again, you go into your profile, and I'm not going to go into that specifically, but right here at the top, you can edit your profile. Go into that and make sure that you claim your name here, so that it's not just a bunch of gobbledygook numbers. I see a lot of people who miss that step when they're doing their LinkedIn. So go get your name, and sometimes you may have to put an initial in it or something, but definitely claim your name. And I just want to show a little bit again. These are all a little bit different. So there is no one way to do this. But again, notice the summaries are designed in a way so that they're highly consumable in a tablet or a mobile phone. And again, as you saw mine, I still had too much information. So use these samples that I'm showing you to go, oh, okay, so shorten this up. So here he's saying, at my company, befoundjobs.com, we help you to be found, be hunted, and be hired fast. That's his tagline. So again, you can say, I help you do this, or at my company we do this. So depending on how you're putting all this together, that's how you want to design your profile. And then using words like, for example, discover how to get hired fast in the LinkedIn Insider Secret free training webinar at. Okay, so he's immediately has a call to action, which means he's telling them, hey, to go find out about this, go do this. Now for you, your profile may or may not be like that. Yours may be just, hey, this is what I do, this is who I am. And he's saying, again, he's trying to get people to come hire him. So that's why with this profile, you're seeing a lot more call to action in it. And then he says, you know how frustrating a job search can be when you're trying everything and getting nowhere. Again, he's saying, he has a you have a pain, or the person reading this, if they're seeking a job, has a pain. I need a job. So he's saying, you know how frustrating a job search can be when you're trying everything and getting nowhere, question mark. I solve this. So think about how you pose a pain or a problem, and then how you solve it. And even though you may or may not be in a position where you're trying to sell somebody a concept, you really always are, because your profile is who you are to the world and how you're perceived. And especially on LinkedIn, you want to be perceived as an expert in whatever it is you're doing. If it's a job you're looking for, great. If you have a service or you're doing something, you want to be perceived as the top person in your field. That's how LinkedIn is designed. You want to pop out of all the other millions of people out there. And notice how Greg, he uses lines and stars here to separate different concepts. And then he has, again, lots of calls to action. And then he actually gives a bunch of keywords within his profile. So again, what are keywords? Keywords are what people might search for if they were looking for someone with like you. For example, attorney, it could be DUI attorney, estate attorney, or it might be a luxury hotel or hotel in Costa Rica or eviction attorney, or it could be uh, I think that we have some restaurants. It could be seafood restaurant. I mean, as do you get what I'm saying about finding keywords about whatever it is? That's what all this is about here. It's literally listings of keywords and how what somebody might look for so that his profile, if anyone typed those keywords into LinkedIn, he would come up. Think about this also not only as keywords related to LinkedIn, but keywords related to Google searches, Facebook searches. Facebook is also a search engine now because it teamed with Bing. So think about everything you do, you're creating digital assets. Okay. So and then, of course, he has more information here. Now, I want to go to another person and show you. This is a different person. This guy is Dan Sherman, and I've been watching Dan Sherman. In my profession, you watch people and you see, how people reinvent themselves and what they do. And when I first started watching Dan Sherman, he was actually doing a lot of online marketing related to affiliate products. And then all of a sudden, I noticed that he was now a McGraw Hill author of Maximum Success with LinkedIn. And then he's LinkedIn corporate sales training, LinkedIn job search programs. Notice the pipe here. He's using the pipe, and that was this method is probably about 2 years old. The Mike O'Neill method with the diamonds is a newer way. Notice if you recall, the diamonds pop off the page a lot better than the pipes. But I'm just pointing these little things out because just to show the nuance of how things change. So here, Dan, and he's, of course, immediately, I am not endorsed, associated, or employed by LinkedIn. But the very act of writing that, you're connecting yourself to LinkedIn. So again, uh, uh, he's writing his in a little bit more formal fashion. And of course, he has the clout of saying, I'm a McGraw Hill author of Maximum Success with LinkedIn. And then, of course, he's using that to establish his online authority. And then he's using these stars and he's going through this is what I'll show you how to do. Again, notice that all of these people are using their profile and they're optimizing it to be viewed on a mobile device. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for everyone to get the concept that we're going into a mobile world where people no longer are tied to their desk, to a Mac or a PC. They literally have their mobile device. It might be an iPhone, it might be an iPad, it could be a tablet, it could be an Android. And you'll notice that upcoming phones are going to be a little bit larger because of people wanting to use the actual be able to read it as we age. And I'm a prime example. um you know, I'm going to admit I'm 55, and I look at my little teeny phone and I'm going, oh my God, I don't want to look at anything on a phone. But I know that I have to use my phone to look things up. And that's why you'll see more and more people with tablets and Kindles, the larger, if you noticed, cell phones got really, really tiny, and now they're getting bigger. And it's because obviously, if you're actually going to use your phone as a device that you use for work and play and for communications, you have to be able to at least tap it with your finger. And most people's fingers are a lot fatter, and so phones got really, really tiny for a while, and that was really cool. And now they're getting bigger. But again, the device, the tablet device, the Kindle, the device with the virtual keyboard concept, or the attachable keyboard, you're seeing more and more about that. But again, if you look at these, and again, after this webinar, you can go and, of course, look at all of these yourself. And I just want to point out how to dissect what you're looking at and for with that. And the next thing I wanted to show you is I actually went to look at some of the people who actually work for LinkedIn. And I don't know these people personally, but I was just curious to see how they did it. And so this is an example of one of the advisors. And again, note the order. Everybody starts with the summary, and then the summary, and then it goes down from there. And then the experience. And again, my computer's a little slow. I apologize. And a lot of people who work at LinkedIn, I thought it was very interesting. They all seem to also have worked at Google at one point. And then they put the endorsements at the bottom, which I thought was very interesting, um, because they're those endorsements um, are very can be very powerful. But in the LinkedIn world, they're not showing them as being the most important thing. What they're really saying is that your summary, by having it at the top, is really the most important thing. So if I once my computer lets me in. So this is the way that uh, Yasmin does it. If I can get my computer up here a little bit, and it's not cooperating. But again, look for short opportunity. She says, I connect talent with opportunity. Okay. Let's see if I can get this to. And then she actually lists all these different things that she does. So again, there is no one right way to do these profiles, but the point is that you want to have good information. I'm going to go to another guy, Andrew. Again, he works for LinkedIn. Notice here he's worked for Google, and I'm waiting for this here. Okay, here's notice again. Looking to connect? Do relationships matter to you? Okay, very short. Combining my 6+ years in recruiting experience with my passion for finding professionals, career, and life changing opportunities has led me to my role here at LinkedIn. Again, they're asking a question, and then you know, so they capture your attention, and then immediately this guy says, combining my 6+ years in recruiting experience with my passion for finding professionals, career, and life changing opportunities has led me to my role here at LinkedIn. The LinkedIn team is changing the way that professionals connect and network. We're making an impact on the world. So if you read the way that they put this information together, I think you can learn how to create a very powerful summary. And note how short his is. It's a total of literally a couple paragraphs here. So I just want you to pay attention. I'm going to check for questions. Oh, Sarah says she lost me. Sarah, would you do the same for the profile? Let me, Sarah Mori, since you lost me, all I can say is to log back in. With the profile of a company, let's go find a company. Let's see. Um, I'm just going to go see if I can find a company here that we can take a look at. Okay, so here's IBM. I'm going to click on it. Typically, when you fill out a profile for a company, it's going to give you probably different selections. But again, you would want to fill it out in a similar way. Okay, so here is what a business profile looks like. So what you'll want to do is go in and fill out the basic information. Here they have home, careers, products, and services. But again, I think the same formula about what it is. For example, IBM is a global technology and innovation company headquartered in Armonk, New York, period. It is the largest da 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 da. Da. Again, depending on your company, um, sometimes, I mean, obviously a big corporation is going to be different than a smaller company. But what I would do is I would try to find some examples of companies that are similar in nature to yours who are successful, and take a look at their profiles and then emulate those. Again, keeping the basic concepts of short, to the point, and having one one problem, one solution. You know, what is the pain that your company solves for its clients, and what is the solution? And I am looking at your questions. Um, should we have a personal and a business page from Sarah? Sarah, yes. Everything you do, if you're in a professional person, create a professional profile for you as an individual, and you should create a profile for your company. For example, LinkedIn is a prime example where you should have a company page. Facebook, you should have a company page. Twitter, even, because obviously Sarah, the person, is different than whatever the company is. For example, I have a personal page, and then I have my total audience market immersion page in Facebook. I don't know that I've made a company page for LinkedIn yet, but so my total audience market immersion page on Facebook is typically all what I post on it is all business related stuff. On my personal page, you might find everything from cat photographs to me sharing, I love coffee information, but my business page, I keep to business. And then I have some groups. And of course, the groups are pretty much focused on whatever the group's about. For example, our Florida uh, Gulf Coast University social media group typically has social media course content and videos, and then it has social media related news items about what's going on in the world of social media and online marketing. That's what I'll share in that group and what will get discussed in those groups. So, and LinkedIn does give you lots of opportunity for groups. And let me see if I can. I'm a little hesitant to try to uh, my computer is spinning a little bit. That's the only reason. The good news is I'm going out of town this week, and I'm getting my computer all of the stuff pulled off of it. So when I return, I should have a nice fast computer. Blanche, all the social media seem to have places to post updates. Do you recommend posting the same updates on each social media platform? The answer to that, Blanche, is a little complex. Um, I guess the answer is no. Some information does lend itself to being posted everywhere, but other information seems not to go over as well. For example, in LinkedIn, for example, you want to um, have more professional business type information. So you wouldn't necessarily be posting a picture of your cat, for example, on LinkedIn. Um, Facebook, again, depending on what you're doing, is you with social media, you can um, I'm sorry, the phone rang and it distracted me. So let me start over again. On Facebook, if you're sharing as an individual, you will um, you could be posting, for example, motivational type information. You might be sharing news items that may or may not pertain to your business or your professional life. So you have, again, it really depends if you're posting as your personal, but I'll move it on to the business side. As a business, what you would be posting on LinkedIn, people have a tendency to appreciate news items of the day that you find, some motivational things, uh, different things pertaining to whatever it is that your expertise is. And LinkedIn is also a very good place to participate in groups about a certain topic where you can have interchanges about business related issues. Facebook, again, has groups that can either be about business or they can be about social type interests. And then, of course, Twitter, depending on your Twitter personality, you might be, you could have several different Twitter personalities. You could be the organic food personality or the gluten free personality or the traveler personality. You could have several different Twitter accounts uh, depending on what it is that you're tweeting about. So, what I would do is if I wanted to consolidate my Facebook, my LinkedIn, and my Twitter, I would then probably be a little more conservative in what I'm picking, and I would make sure that it worked for each platform that I was working in. So that would be a decision that you would make at some point is, okay, am I going to make my content to kind of fit all of these platforms, or am I going to be really active, say in LinkedIn, and provide a certain type of content? And the way that you learn about what content works in each platform, it's really, I can't honestly tell you because every single student has a different target. You have to listen and learn by participating. So you need to participate and learn about your each platform and then decide, I really like hanging out on Facebook, or I really like tweeting, or I really like LinkedIn, or I'm just doing this because I think I need to. But if you're actually using social media to grow your business, I think you have to test the waters of each of the platforms, and then measure it. And measurement might be by engagement. Measurement could be by likes, by retweets. You need to come up with a formula of how you would measure that information, and then make a decision about how you're going to use it. In our class, it's kind of like going into a smorgasbord. You're kind of tasting a little taste of this and that and the other thing, and then it's kind of like you taste that one, you go, ooh, that one's too salty, oh, that one's too bland, oh, this one's just right, the three bears analogy. And so that's take the opportunity now to just kind of get a taste of each one of these, and then choose one or two where you want to dive a little deeper to learn about it, and start communicating. And I think what you're going to find is you're going to find that one or two of them resonates with you more than the other. So that's a long answer to that question. Brian, what if you own multiple companies? Should you list them all? Um, in your case, Brian, um, I was talking with Jen about your companies, and yours. Since they're kind of an integrated thing, I think under your personal profile, yes, but I do think that because you have kind of a distinct different things going on, you might want to keep them separate and then experiment with how they work together, um, to feed into one another. Because they're similar yet different, and so I think you need to, yes, put them all in your profile, but have a different page or profile for each of the separate entities, and then decide again how to integrate them and how they can work together, because you're in a unique situation. Blanche. Let's see. Blanche says, I understand the separation between personal and business, but for all company social media, could one post the same updates? I think so. Again, that's a decision that you'd want to look at, and then just keep your social media, find a balance. Blanche. Same question as it relates to media, pictures, videos. Should you replicate your media on your company platforms? I'd say the answer to that is pretty much yes. Um, Brian, you need a podcast. Brian, just to let you know, I have a podcast in the works. Um, I'll have to talk to you about it because I've been having a lot of fun doing the research on who the podcast is for and what it's about and everything. And yes, it is about business and social media. Any more questions? Looks like and again, if I'm not answering your question, ask it in a different way. Just because I'm trying to interpret. Um, and of course, like I said, my computer is running a little slow. But the good news is, like I said, is I'm um, going out actually to Hollywood this week. I'll tell you a little bit about my adventures. I'm actually going to Hollywood to get interviewed by some producers for some daytime TV programs to talk about social media. So this is a very exciting time. And when I come back, I'll be able to share what I learned about that part of, of promotions that I think a lot of you in the class would probably really benefit from learning about different how to integrate your social media with offline media, newspapers, uh, your direct mail, your newspapers, your TV, your radio. That's something that I came from the newspaper video world, old school, back when it was actually videotape. And I had a TV show back in the 80s. So it is very interesting to come, into 2014 knowing what I know about old school media and moving everything into the new digital age. And a lot of what I'm doing, I'm able to come back and share with all of you. And I think it will actually give a lot of you some insight that the average person who isn't immersed in this doesn't have, because I've been really immersed in social media and marketing, seriously, 7 days a week since 2010. So I've got some cool insight because I was one of those geeks back in high school. They back then they called it AV, audio visual aids, and so that's why I think that's very interesting. Let's see. Um, And Brian, just let you know, everyone, in our class, we have a podcast launch expert. If you're interested, let me know and I will connect you with him. Jennifer, how do I create a company profile on LinkedIn? The LinkedIn business link didn't take me to it. Okay, let me see. And then there's another question. Is it the same as creating a personal one? You should be able to go in and let me see. And again, I apologize. My computer is not cooperating. The answer, Jennifer, because we're coming up on our time limit on our webinar, is do a search in your LinkedIn for how to create a business profile, and it should take you there. And okay, how to like I said, my computer is on its last legs here. How to become a stripper. That's funny. How to create a business profile is what I would type in. And if you don't find it in LinkedIn, go do a Google search and I'll see if I can find that information for you. Since my computer is acting up, I apologize for that. Let me check a couple more questions. Okay. Hi, Jennifer says thank you. So that's it for today. And I hope that you got a better idea about the LinkedIn profiles. And again, I believe that if you use LinkedIn as your basic premise of creating a solid profile, that when you go to make your profiles for Facebook, Google Plus, Pinterest, Twitter, that will really help you. And one thing I'm going to leave you with today is do not skimp on filling out your profiles for your personal and your business. Take the time you need to make complete profiles, and especially make complete profiles on your Google Plus. Google Plus is a force that you do not want to mess with, because Google is the giant. Google is your number one search engine, and Google will reward those who play the Google Plus game. So I'm going to leave you with that little piece of advice. And again, all of you, I really appreciate the fact that you're in the course, and I want you to feel comfortable. You can call me, you can send me emails, you can contact me on Facebook, and I will typically get back to you within 24 hours, if not sooner. But definitely reach out to me. I have been answering questions via email for several people. And again, if I don't answer your question correctly, or give you enough information, please let me know. I do try to answer, but again, um, we don't always communicate, exactly what we're trying to say. So again, if I'm not answering it properly, please continue to reach out and I will try to help you. I'm going to let you go now. I really, really appreciate everyone being here. I'll talk to you next week. Next week, our webinar is on the regular schedule, which is on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. Again, the recording will be available on Facebook and in our group, and also at the FGCU blog site. So thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you coming today. Thank you. Bye-bye.